Hi everyone, my name is Matt Mongiello. I'm a professor at McDaniel College. I'm in fact your professor for FYS 1239, Animals, Ethics, and Policy. That's your first year seminar, your FYS, as we say it. And it means we'll be starting class in a few weeks. And it also means I'm your advisor. So until you declare a new major, or maybe you'll declare a major in my field, and I'll be your advisor throughout your time at McDaniel. But for most of you, I will be your advisor for a year, 2 years, depending on how quickly you declare a major. So we're going to be spending some time together. I wanted to start off your time at McDaniel, start off the 2020 fall semester by saying hello, introducing myself. I'm sending you guys a longer letter, a way too long letter that's like 5 or 6 pages. Got a little bit carried away. Introducing myself, introducing the class, talking just about some serious stuff, some fun stuff like music and movies and TV shows and things like that. Also talking about what we're doing and how we should think about starting college during a time of a pandemic, which is really quite exceptional. It's an exceptional time in terms of the pandemic. It's an exceptional time in terms of civil rights and racial justice. I was just watching before I recorded this some of the funeral of John Lewis, so there will be plenty for us to talk about in this upcoming year. It really is a tough time to be going to college, but it's a great time to be going to college because where else would you want to be when we have to think through and talk out and reflect on all these dramatic and difficult topics, themes, issues that are going on in all of our lives. All right, so let me step back for a second and introduce myself. I'm Matthew Mongiello. You can call me Professor Mongiello, Dr. Mongiello, Professor M, Dr. M. You could call me T-Bone. That's a Seinfeld joke. If you get it, the episode where George tries to get himself nicknamed T-Bone is a classic. It's an excellent one. You're going to get a lot of Seinfeld jokes, a lot of Simpsons jokes, a lot of 90s era pop culture, because that's my thing. And I'm a father of a 13-year-old, and I am exposing him to all the shows, all the movies, all of that I grew up with. And so it's going to be coming back up. And if you think it's unfunny, I'm sorry. It's just going to keep coming. So get ready for all of the references like that. So this is an FYS class. It is not in my main discipline, which is political science. I'm in the Political Science and International Studies department. For most of my classes, I teach American politics and I teach political theory. So what kind of things do I teach? I teach American political institutions, where we do Congress, the presidency, the courts, all kinds of standard stuff like that. Very exciting during election year. Really very exciting all the time. So always happy to talk about politics. I teach public policy, which means on all kinds of different issues. This past year we did our course focused on all kinds of things, but focused on drug abuse and drug policy and the war on drugs in particular. So exciting topics like that. I do the law classes. So if you're interested in law school, I'm a pre-law advisor. I do classes like constitutional law, like civil liberties. Just today, or perhaps I guess it was yesterday, our president suggested that perhaps it might be a good idea to delay the election in November. And can he do that? What would happen if he said the election is not going to occur in November? These are the kinds of really interesting questions that we get to do in classes that I teach. I'm also teaching minority politics this semester, this A and B actually section. So maybe I'll see some of you in one of those classes during the fall. But it means that I'll be talking about, I'll be reading about, I'll be engaging with a lot of topics in terms of civil rights, in terms of racial justice, gender, sexuality, things like that. And probably going to be some spillover into our course because we want to talk about the things that are on our mind, and we're going to make plenty of space for that in our FYS. I also do the political theory classes, American political thought, and more generally survey political thought. So Plato through Locke and Rousseau, all the way up to people like John Rawls, who are more contemporary figures, who I'll probably mention a bit in our class when we're getting on to the ethics. And I do Federalist Papers and the founders and all the stuff you hear about in Hamilton. So we can talk about all that. So those are the kinds of things I typically teach. What I love about teaching in FYS, the FYS program, is that it's not discipline specific. Right? I get to dip into the hard sciences, biology. I get to do psychology. I get to do history. I get to do literature. One of our books is by a novelist, and that's a real treat for me to get to expand outside of the traditional subject areas that I teach in, and get to see all the connections between all the different subjects and topics and fields of inquiry. And right, that's of course one of the points of going to a liberal arts college. So it's fun for me as an instructor to do that. It's also great to be able to teach and read and discuss on issues of animals and issues of ethics. Those are passions of mine. They're professional and personal passions. And I only get to teach in this area because we have a program like First Year Seminar, and because people like you guys check off the box. Maybe it's not your first choice. Hopefully it is. But because you guys are coming here and you're signing up and you're taking this class, I get to teach it. So thank you guys from the start. I'm really excited to be teaching this. This is my 5th year teaching at McDaniel, my 3rd year teaching this course in the FYS program. Each year it changes, it evolves, and I'm really, really, really confident that this is going to be the best version of this course that we've done. And in fact, all the disruptions around COVID, the fact that I'm recording video introductions to you instead of simply sending the letter, which is what I normally do. Well, I'm doing that in part because we are upping our game in order to use technology, use techniques to communicate, to discuss, to share ideas, to explore ideas when we might not be able to meet in person. But why couldn't I have done this in previous years? Why just send a letter? Why not record something, connect with you guys in a more personal way before we get started? No reason I couldn't have done it. So there are a lot of ways in which I think your professors are going to adapt to the COVID situation, and classes here, the experience here at McDaniel is going to get even better. And I have to say, the people here at McDaniel are terrific. The people in my department, political science, terrific people, great teachers, and that really holds true. And we're the best. We're the best department. But I will say that all my colleagues across various other fields are tremendously good, kind, caring, and talented people. I really, really love working with all these people, and I think that will be felt by you guys. You'll feel what a good place to work, to learn, and to grow McDaniel can be. So let's see about this class, and let's see how we're doing. We're about 8 minutes in. 15 minutes. 15 minutes is a little long for a video. Hopefully, I can get done. The version of the class that I'm doing this year, we got 3 books. The one in the middle, the green one, is one I have done the last 2 years. These 2 are new. I'm trying to expand, to change, to shift, to adapt what the class is, and in doing so, I am following what do I want to read, what do I want to learn, right? I am a scholar, but I'm also just, I'm interested, I'm intellectually curious. I think that's something that we probably all share, and so, like many of your professors, I'm assigning things that I want to read, that I want to discuss. I'd rather read and talk and discuss and read your thoughts, read your papers, read your reflections on these books than to simply do it by myself. And so the first book that I selected is Mama's Last Hug, which sounds like a silly title. It's Animals are Animal Emotions and What They Tell Us About Ourselves by Franz de Waal, who for most of my life, he's a famous primatologist, kind of like Jane Goodall. For most of my life, I pronounced his name Franz de Waal, and just in looking into his work in order to assign something for this class, I have become rather sure that he pronounces it, he's a Dutch primatologist, that he pronounces his name with the W as a V, de Waal. And that's lesson one, right? That's lesson one here at McDaniel, is that for your entire life, starting right now, but right, you know, I'm twice your age, and I'm an academic, and I've been teaching or learning, you know, formally my entire life. There's a lot of stuff you don't know. All right, so you're all coming into college. There's going to be stuff you don't know. There's going to be stuff that you've been acting on, behaving on, you know, making statements about that you're going to discover you no longer agree with, or was uninformed, or whatnot. And you got to be okay with that. You can't be embarrassed. You can't be ashamed, because being embarrassed, being ashamed, what it does is it makes us latch on to our ignorance, to the things that we didn't know. It can't be, what I was acting on can't be wrong, because then I'm a fool. Out the door, right? Out the door as you get to college, and hopefully for the rest of your life, because you don't want to spend the rest of your life calling the dude Franz de Waal, simply because it's how you've already always done it. This actually reminds me of when I started college, and you guys may not have heard of René Descartes, a French philosopher, but you know, I was a few classes into, I think, my philosophy major back in college, and I thought the dude was from Spain, and his name was Descartes. You know, I was thinking of like Cortez and the Conquistadors or something like that. And you know, we get things wrong. You have to be willing to say, "Oops, I didn't know that," and learn something new and move on. The flip side of that, the second part of this mini lesson is, you can't try to shame people for the things that they did not know. You don't learn something new in college and then go home to your room, to your friends at home, to your family, and say, "I can't believe you didn't know this. Like, what an idiot you are!" Right? We don't want to have that kind of intellectual society, because we want to encourage people to learn, to grow. Hey, I just learned this. Don't you think it's interesting? That's how knowledge spreads. That's how we learn more as a community. So in this class and in your lives, we're coming into it and saying, you know, there's stuff we don't know. Hopefully we'll come out the back end of this class knowing more than we did before. So we're going to start with this book. And I think that it is a great book to start with, because it deals with this idea of cognition, of emotions, of what are animals really like, how different or similar are they to humans, and what does that mean, not simply for how we understand them and how we should treat them, but how we should understand ourselves and how we should treat each other. I think that applying ethics, applying morality to animals shouldn't be a one-way street. It shouldn't be, well, let's look at them and see what kinds of consideration, what kinds of practices are right to apply simply to them, right? Let's take human morality and cut and paste a little of it over onto animals, and maybe we won't be so mean to them. I think it's more, well, if we fold them in, if we think about ethics and morality more broadly, maybe we will recognize different things about ourselves and different things about them, and it's going to change the whole way we think morally. Two-way street. As we think about animals, we understand ourselves even better. So we're going to start with this book. We're going to learn, while we're engaged with this book, some basics about ethics, about different schools of ethical thought and things like that. And the backdrop of that is going to be learning more about animal minds. Next, and yeah, we're not going to make 15 minutes. Sorry, guys. Sorry. This is the way a lot of my stuff runs. I apologize in advance for lots of videos that run too long. Second book, Eating Animals, Jonathan Safran Foer. He's a novelist. I've taught this book a bunch of times. You can see I've got Post-its. I've got let's see, random page, right? A bunch of stuff written, circled, starred. It's a book I really like. It's a book that I think is really interesting to teach in a class like this, because as a novelist, he uses a lot of plays on words. He uses a lot of symbolic language, a lot of metaphors, and it's a lot of fun to sort of plumb the depths. And he's talking about our values, our identity, things like that. And it's really enjoyable for me, at least. And I think that it's a great text. Of course, it deals with subject matter of eating animals, of agriculture, of meat eating, things like that. And you can't get away from that if you're going to study animal ethics. It's our biggest single and our most, morally contentious institution, way we use animals, animal agriculture, and so you can't get away from it. And this book is about his own journey. It's not a particularly judgy book. It's I think of myself as a decent person, a moral person. I want to be a good person. What do I think about eating animals? What do I think about the agriculture industry and ranching and chicken farming and dairy farming and all these things? And so we will deal in the middle part of the class with those big questions. And there's no one way you have to come down with it, right? This is not proselytizing for a single view. Saffron Fower comes to his own conclusions, but the whole sort of journey in the book suggests that there are a number of reasonable conclusions that you might come to. And so this is not an especially preachy book, but in this class, it's an ethics class, it's an applied ethics class. There's going to be judgment. We're not judging each other. We're not saying you're a bad person, you're a good person, you're a bad person. We are all trying to be the best people that we can, but we are going to judge ideas and practices and things like that. So be prepared. This is our second book. I think it's a classic. By the way, big chapter here on zoonotic diseases that transfer from animals to human beings. I was a little bit like last year, last fall, I was like, why does he spend so much time talking about zoonotic diseases, about the Spanish flu of 1918, which actually didn't start in Spain. It started in Kansas in pig farms. And most deadly contagious disease in modern history. You're hearing a lot about it with COVID, which is also a zoonotic disease, right? A disease that comes out of bats, that possibly transferred through other wild animals that were kept in Asian wet markets. Pangolins are a possible vector for this disease into humans. And so we're dealing right now with a pandemic that is a zoonotic disease that is based on animal markets. He deals more with the way our mass industrial farms can be vectors for diseases, but I think it's a mark in his favor and in favor of this book. It's a 10-year-old book, and it seems like some of his concerns have been borne out with this current pandemic. And so, hey, when you say things in advance and you get them right, we should pay attention to whatever else he happens to be saying. Final book I was really excited to read. I've still got about 30 or 40 pages left in it. The Sixth Extinction by Elizabeth Kolbert. It is a book in large part or framed in terms of climate change, which is perhaps the great challenge of this generation. But it deals both more narrowly and more broadly with the idea of species loss and how we've come to understand the idea of extinction, and how we can kind of wrap our minds around the current process of extinction that we're living through right now, which is according to the scientific literature captured in this book, the sixth extinction, the sixth great extinction. There have been 5 in the history of life on Earth in which a certain large percentage of species that inhabit the Earth have very quickly gone extinct. And we are very much in the 6th one of these. So, your kids, or even you yourself in 5-10 years, are going to face a world in which a lot of species, most of them not ones that you think about or care about, are going to be gone, but also some that maybe you do if you love rhinos, if you love elephants, if you love polar bears. These animals are going to be gone, and a lot of smaller animals, a lot of animals that we may not even have classified, bugs and amphibians and things like that. And a large part of it has to do with climate change, but it also has to do with the way humans transform the world in terms of agriculture, in terms of urbanization, in terms of fragmenting forests and fragmenting ecosystems and things like that. So we're going to move from eating animals, which, by the way, right, industrial agriculture is a huge driver of climate change and land development and all that. So definitely connects to this issue. All of the books that we're going to read connect. But we're going to move from, geez, is there a problem with what we're doing to these individual animals under our control on these farms? And we're going to then step back. And we're going to look at systems and ecology and the fate of the planet, and try to get, sort of a bird's eye view of humans and other animals and their coexistence on this planet. So that's sort of the gist of the course as I'm imagining it, right? So humans and animals, very philosophically, with a grounding in ethics. Focus in on agriculture, the big question that we have under our control, then pull back to ecology and sort of the big relationship, looking a bit more long-term about the future of us and other animals on this planet. So that's the course, and I think it's gonna be cool. We're going to be meeting both in person and online. Our in-person meetings are going to be heavy on discussion, small group discussion. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk about the books. We're going to talk about our experiences. We're going to talk about college in general. But we're going to really dive in there. You're also going to be doing a lot of work on Blackboard, which many of you may not have heard of. It's a course software that you'll get access to when you get your McDaniel account signed up. We'll have a page for this class. I'm working feverishly, doing trainings and figuring out how to make that Blackboard site as clear and as helpful as possible to explain to you what you're supposed to be learning in this class, what you're supposed to be doing each week, and things like that. We're also going to have discussion boards, and videos like this are going to be posted on the Blackboard site. So look forward to that. Those are going to be coming to you. Also, we're going to have something called a Microsoft Teams site. It's a little bit like Zoom, but it does more things, and it's going to be a way that we can connect virtually. So using Teams, using Blackboards, we're going to have a lot of online, a lot of virtual discussion, engagement, projects, papers, things like that. And you might be saying, oh, I'm coming to college, I want to do everything in person. I think that is a mindset that we are growing out of, and that the pandemic here is pushing us to consider the ways in which technology can make the way we engage with each other and the way we deliver material better, right? I don't necessarily need to give this speech sitting in front of you, and quite frankly, this is the second time or third time I've done this because oops, I didn't have my books with me, or oops, I had a recording problem, but now I'm going to do it better, and I'm going to give you guys a better video product. No questions immediately, but we're going to create spaces for those questions, both online and in person. So I'm really excited at the way we're sort of adapting, engaging, and evolving during this difficult time. But there is going to be some online stuff. There's going to be some in-person stuff. We call that hybrid. It's going to be very flexible, but I'm trying to construct the class in a way that that it is flexible and remains high quality in terms of I don't like saying the product, but the product that we're delivering. All right, so that's the class. You'll get my letter. You'll get emails from me, emails from your peer mentors. Email. It's annoying. I know many of you are not used to using email. But even though we have tons of different forms of communication that we can use and that we will use in this class and at McDaniel. I will communicate with you in different ways. Your peer mentors will. At the end of the day, the one that is the gold standard, because everybody uses it and everybody is responsible. It's your official form of communication, is your email. So you got to check it. If you got a phone, you all have a phone, right? Get the email set up so that you see it, you get alerts, you get notifications in the same way you do when you get texted. Anyway, watch your email. Not your Gmail, your Yahoo mail. Does anyone use? I still have an old Yahoo mail. Hotmail is gone, right? Hotmail is gone. I don't know. But your McDaniel email, you need to check it. You need to have that be your first line of communication. So look for videos, letters, instructions from me in your email, and also maybe your peer mentors have contacted you already. They're usually on the ball, a little bit more on point than I am. But on that ground, you have two really, let me get that. There we go. Face the camera. Two really, really great peer mentors. So Mackenzie was a peer mentor for me in this class last year. She took the course in the first year that I ran it. Great student, really responsible, really reliable. She is going to be your best resource for questions about McDaniel, for questions about the class, for questions about life. Bug her about anything. It's her role. Now, she's going to be a virtual student. She's going to be online during our COVID time, but she will be available. She may be more available, right? She may be more available to answer your questions, give you advice, or just to chat. And she's really great. I've worked with her as a student and outside of class, and I think we're really lucky to have her. We are doubly lucky, though, because we have Kylie, too, who you're going to run through orientation with, and she's going to be your point person on any sort of issues that you have that require an in-person presence. If you go MIA, she's going to be knocking on your door, or not. I don't know how the COVID stuff is going to play out. Maybe we don't knock on doors anymore, but she's great as well, right? So I've also she took the class last year. I've worked with her in and out of class. Both of these students I've had in my other political science classes, and they know how stuff works. They know how the campus works. They know good study skills, good note taking, good everything, right? They are going to be super good resources. Hopefully, we can get Kylie to participate a bit more with the class as well, and have some more contact with you guys. But your first line for questions is going to be Mackenzie. Anyway, so most classes have one peer mentor. We are super lucky to have two great peer mentors that I feel very, very confident in their qualifications. They're great people too, right? They're really nice people to know, and so I guess I can't speak for them that they both want to be all of your friends, but I think for the most part, based on what I know of them, you guys have two good, reliable, honest, decent friends who are going to help you through this course and help you through your start at college. So look for contacts from them and instructions from them. All right, we are getting near the 30-minute mark, right? My goal here was a 10-minute video. I am sorry. But we covered a lot of good ground, and hopefully you got some information from me. A lot of it was, in the letter, it's duplicative. But I think you also get a sense of who I am and how much I really do love the Hill. You're going to get a shirt, not this shirt. This is 2 years ago, I think. Every year we get a new shirt about McDaniel, about our McDaniel pride. They're fun. I love them. Good shirts, good quality shirts too. This is the content you need, but you get a sense for who I am, and I think how excited I am about this course, about this coming year. And so I can't wait to meet you guys. I can't wait to get you guys on campus, or if you're going to be learning digitally, I hope that this sort of first video shows that we really can present ourselves, we really can connect to each other. through digital technology. And so I look forward to connecting in all kinds of ways with you guys. And I hope you enjoy the end of your summer, and hope everyone stays safe, can de-stress a little bit, and then let's hit the ground running in a couple of weeks. All right, see you guys soon. Thanks, bye.